Can you please tell us what are the electromagnetic waves?
Electromagnetic waves is a scientific way to talk about, for instance, light, heat, radio waves, TV waves, and the kind of microwaves that communicate with mobile phones and iPads. And that is, of course, energy that is transmitted between different receivers and transmitters.
How much electromagnetic energy we receive from the artificial world, okay? And how much from the natural world?
The natural background is actually very, very low. And there are generally two main sources of electromagnetic fields here on this planet. And it's a very strong so-called geomagnetic field from the core of the planet.
Okay.
And then you also have the energies coming from the sun. And apart from that, you have a very, very low background, both in the microwave range, but also in other frequencies. Mm-hmm. And then the artificial levels, they are easily millions, billions times higher and more. So there is an enormous increase when such fields have been added.
Okay. And how do these electromagnetic waves would affect living people, animals, creatures?
Yeah, there has been a number of scientific studies, and they are all published and in well-controlled scientific journals. And to make a long story short, they will affect anything from molecules and cells to tissues to organs to experimental animals, including bacteria, insects, birds, fishes, and mammals, as well as plants, and also, of course, human beings. And many of the effects, they are actually scary.
Can you just, as an example, can you mention why they will be scary?
For instance, effects on the DNA molecule, and you have a fragmentization. It's destroyed by these kind of electromagnetic waves, and that could lead to anything like cancer, debilitation of the cancer defense. It could be an impact on the immune system. You can have genomic effects in the future, effects on fertility, etc.
Okay, so it's very risky.
Okay. Well, it's very risky indeed. And therefore, we have called for the use of a precautionary principle to wait a little bit until we really know that all these waves are 100% safe. And today, we don't know that.
Okay, can we know that they are safe? I mean, is there a way for us to know that they can be safe?
Of course, we need to do more scientific studies, and especially so-called replications, where earlier data is tried and tested again to see if they were valid or not.
Is this research being carried right now or not?
No, not very much, because it's very difficult to get the necessary funding to pursue this kind of research. But at the same time, there are more and more papers coming showing to even more bad effects. So it's a general call for quality control and replications of independent scientists. And today it seems that they are definitely not safe.
Okay, and so if it is quite clear that they are not safe, why is there a lack of interest in funding this research?
Well, that's very enigmatic for me as a scientist, because we talk about something that you find everywhere in the modernized world, and it's exposing everyone all day around, every week, every month, every year, regardless of where you work or live or stay. So it's a real general exposure, and if it turns out to be a toxic exposure, then something needs to be done today instead of tomorrow. And I'm very puzzled too why there isn't more interest in this.
Because this is, from my experience, we all use, for example, mobile phones, or we have Wi-Fi at home.
Yeah.
But nobody knows about this. Nobody talks about it.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, you see, all the scary and interesting and alarming results that we touched upon, they are in the public domain. Anyone can find and read about them, but people are too occupied, with their smartphones and their e-readers and so on, so they don't have time to really question and scrutinize this. At the same time, I don't think the ordinary customer should have the responsibility, but it's really up to health agencies, to radiation protection boards, to governments and parliaments to make sure that all these publications showing negative effects actually are wrong. Because that's what needed to say it is safe.